You know, there are some phrases in business that just echo. They haunt the empty halls of companies that were once giants. Today, we're going to listen to one of those echoes, the story of a company that had everything and lost it all. But here's the thing about Kodak. They didn't just see it coming, they invented it. They literally held the future in their hands, and then they told it to get lost. So this isn't just a business case study. It's the story of a cultural icon, a memory machine that somehow developed a fatal case of amnesia. I mean, really think about that. What happens when the fear of losing what you already have becomes way, way bigger than the courage to build what's next? This is the story of how the absolute king of images completely lost its vision. To really understand the fall, you have to stand at the top of the mountain with them first. For almost 100 years, Kodak wasn't just a company. No way. It was the curator of our lives, the quiet archivist of our most precious moments. It was the memory machine.
And it all started with this incredibly simple promise from the founder, George Eastman. See, before him, photography was this messy, complicated science project. But with just 5 words, Eastman made it personal. He made it easy. He put the power to capture a moment into everyone's hands.
And that right there, that was their genius. Kodak got it. They knew they weren't really in the chemical business or the camera business. No, they were in the memories business. Your first birthday party, your wedding day, that little yellow box held our entire lives. It was emotion, packaged and sold. And business wasn't just good, it was absolute. By the 1970s, they weren't leading the market, they were the market. In the United States, 9 out of every 10 rolls of film sold was a Kodak film. Just let that sink in. That kind of dominance is almost unimaginable today. And it wasn't just the film. They sold 85% of the cameras worldwide. They were a monopoly in the truest sense of the word. An unstoppable, beloved empire built on smiles and film rolls. But deep inside this empire, a revolution was quietly brewing. And then came a single moment in a quiet lab that would seal their fate. The future arrived. It knocked on the door, and Kodak politely told it to go away. Picture this. The year is 1975. A young 24-year-old engineer at Kodak named Stephen Sasson, he's been tinkering with a side project, and he's created something nobody has ever seen before. It's clunky, it's slow, but it works. Yup, the world's first digital camera, it wasn't born in Silicon Valley. It wasn't dreamed up by Sony or Canon. It was born inside Kodak. The very company that digital photography would one day destroy was its own creator. Now, to be fair, it wasn't much to look at. It took 23 seconds to capture one single black and white image at a resolution of 0.01 megapixels. It was a prototype, a glimpse, but it was a glimpse of the inevitable. So Sasson shows his creation to the executives, and their response? It's become legendary. That's cute, they said, but don't tell anyone about it. And with that one sentence, they buried their own future. That single decision triggered the slow, painful unraveling that would last for decades. While Kodak was busy protecting its past, the rest of the world, they were racing toward the future Kodak had invented and then just ignored. So why, right? Why on earth would you bury such a groundbreaking invention? Well, the answer is actually pretty simple. Fear. Kodak made billions of dollars selling film and chemicals. The digital camera was filmless. It threatened their entire business model, their golden goose, so they hid it. And the cost of that fear, it just played out in slow motion. Through the 90s, competitors like Sony and Canon jumped all over digital. By the 2000s, it was totally mainstream. Then 2007 happened, the first iPhone. The war was over. And in 2012, the inevitable finally arrived. Kodak, the giant, was bankrupt. It's really the ultimate irony, isn't it? Their entire brand was about preserving the moment, but when their most important moment came, they just let it pass by. They blinked. And that's the part of the story that still echoes today. You see, they weren't outmaneuvered by a rival. They were haunted by a ghost they had created themselves. So, what's the takeaway from all this? I mean, there's a reason Kodak's story has become a legend in business schools. It's so much more than a corporate tragedy. It's a really powerful lesson in human nature.
Ultimately, their enemy wasn't another company on the outside. It was an internal one. It was the fear of cannibalizing a profitable present that stopped them from embracing a necessary future. The fear of change.
And this is what we can all learn from them. Success can be a trap. It creates this fear of letting go of the very thing that made you successful. It can blind you with comfort, right? It makes you believe that what works today is gonna work tomorrow. But the most dangerous time to refuse to change is when you are at the absolute top. This quote is basically the modern business mantra, and Kodak is its poster child. The world doesn't wait for you to get comfortable. Progress is absolutely relentless. If you're not the one leading the change in your industry, you are going to become its victim. It's that simple. In the end, a legacy isn't about protecting what was, it's about bravely building what's next. It's a choice between being a monument and being a movement. Kodak chose to be a monument. And that brings this whole lesson right back to us, doesn't it? Kodak's story is just a massive corporate version of a choice we all face in our careers, in our lives. So the question it leaves us with is this: what golden goose are you protecting? And what future are you afraid to embrace?